Hey everybody, my name is Sharon Quinn and I'm also known as the original Runway Diva, and you are watching Model Behavior. Class is officially in session. My guest lecturer today is fashion production and event planner Alvin B. King. His company, King & I Productions, is now celebrating 25 years in the fashion production industry. Welcome to Model Behavior, Alvin King.
Sharon, thank you. Hey, Sharon.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I'm shaking your hand. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm shaking her hand, but I really should bow down to you because when you put that title, The Original Runway Diva, you live it, you breathe it, and obviously you look it. So glad to be here.
You get to come back anytime you want, just for that.
Thank you.
So, now I've known you for, I don't know how many years.
I'm going to say you've known me at least 20 years.
Okay.
At least 20.
So, how did you get started in event production?
Well, you know, I think unprofessionally, I started in event production as just a kid. I had five brothers. I had 5 brothers and 1 sister, and I was the one who was always organizing what we did, whether we portrayed being the Jackson 5 in front of family, or if we were anything that we did that required us to be a group. Mm-hmm. I would put it together. I was the one to do that. But in terms of fashion, actually it all started in 1980. 1980 when I met fashion producer Dwight T. Bird. Okay. Who is, if anyone knows anything about the Congressional Black Caucus fashion shows, Dwight T. Bird was the Congressional Black Caucus fashion shows. He produced those shows probably for about 10 years that I was aware of, and he took the shows to the height of it being probably one of the greatest show where African Americans were in fashion production were the best of the best. Okay. Yeah. So, and how did you? Because you did the caucus shows quite a few times. I did. After Dwight, when Dwight met me, I produced my first show in 1983. I invited Dwight. I paid all the models $10 to be a part of the show. I even put my own stage up. It was at George Washington University. And Dwight came, and he saw my potential and asked me would I mind going on tour with him. Now, as a kid, going on tour, I was like, what is a tour? Dwight did these specialty shows where the caucus was the only show that you probably saw his productions. He did shows for Avon, and I think it was another charity organization where they were private, but they were just as big. And all of these investors and different designers and like Avon was the other show. Okay. So Caucus was the only show on that scale where you saw the magnitude of Dwight Bird. So I would go to the Avon show, I would go to shows that he would produce, and he would let me work under him. And then one day, I think it was, I'm terrible with years. That's okay. But Dwight died of AIDS. And the last year that he produced the Caucus show, he asked me would I produce a scene, a tribute to Marvin Gaye. And I was like, okay. Went home and did my homework, and I came up with a concept to show different collections, and it was all in white. And that put me on the map in terms of the fashion community, and I started producing my own shows. Now, let's talk, because everybody thinks that producing fashion shows is easy. Mm-hmm. You and I know it's not. And there's a lot of work that goes into it behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. So give us a few tips on what you need to go into this industry and do a show correctly. One, you need a vision. Okay. And you need a plan. And anyone who knows me knows that I'm pretty strategic when it comes to laying things out. And also, I think just having a customer service attitude, because I'm the guy who calls the model to say, hi, Sharon Quinn, you've been selected for my show. I'm the guy who sits down and figures out what designers are going to be in the show, who my audience is. All of that at an early age, which is now a lot more perfected, but I've always had that type of mindset. And you need that? And you need that. You need that. we live in an age right now, and you and I were talking before the show even started, how some of the people who are entering this industry think that you can get an education off of seeing it online. Absolutely not. Don't be fooled. And it's not so much that you're going to be shocked once you get backstage, but you have to come into this business with certain things like professionalism, confidence, because you're not going to hear everything that your friends have been telling you.
You sure are not.
You're not. And some of it's trickery. Some of it is to see how strong you are. You may look amazing and may be ready to be whisked off to Paris. But a designer might just check you and say, or a producer might check you and say, you know, but your eyes are too big. And if you go in on that, instead of saying, oh, well, okay, great. I'll make sure I'll make them work for you. Being able to come back like that's a trait. But I don't mean to get off course, but I mean.
No, but that's a good point, because if you crumble, you already know this is not for you.
It's not for you. It is not, because the business can be harsh, but depending on how you embrace it and enter it, it can make everything. It can be anything that you want it to be, but you have to just enter it the right way. Right.
Now you deal with models from all walks of life. You've had major chicks walk in your show. So what is it that you look for? And you have a big show coming up in December too.
I do. On December 2nd and 3rd in DC, I am producing a show called Swirls and Chords Fashion and Music Gala Weekend. And the whole concept is to take fashion and music, use fashion and music to bring awareness and education for diabetes. The show is a fundraiser for the American Diabetes Association of Washington, and it has just, I've been planning it for a whole year.
Really?
A whole year. This
I'm
one weekend.
now.
And it's at the Arena Stage in Washington, D.C., and I'm going to have you in the show.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Along with some others. The fashion portion will have 5 designers and 2 retailers. One retailer I'm still they're negotiating with me, but the one retailer I do have is Lord & Taylor's, and I have Andrew Noel, Douglas Says, Earl Bannister Couture, Byron Osborne from Chicago, who does some amazing evening wear, and
bridal wear.
And Franklin Rowe International. Of course, I cannot do a show without Franklin Rowe.
Wait, so you said 5.
5.
So 3 out of those 5 I already worked for, so I know I'm going to be tight when I get to DC,
You will be
baby.
so tight, okay? And you will not be in all black and blue.
Yes.
Yes. So and the second day is the music portion of the event, which is the Saturday afternoon. I'm sorry, on before the fashion show, there's a huge reception, all fashion forward, all at the Arena Stage the whole weekend. And then on Sunday, I have a brunch where I will be presenting a check to the organization. And then we move into the music portion where I have Silver Logan Sharp as my headline artist, who you know is fashion forward anyway. She's the former lead singer with Chic and now solo artist. Just absolutely amazing.
I've worked with her before too.
A beast in her own right.
Yes,
and I mean
absolutely.
that, ladies and gentlemen, with affection. A beast in her own right. Okay.
Now, what's your connection with the Diabetes Association?
Actually,
is that a cause that's near and dear to you?
It is, but it's sort of twofold. I stopped producing fashion shows for 10 years to go back to school. I wanted to get a degree, so I wanted to kind of think about, you know, where I wanted to be. Was fashion really what I wanted to do again? Because it's not easy, and I said if I came back, I didn't want to do it on the level that I was doing it, where I've been very fortunate, working for the American Diabetes Association, the Congressional Black Caucus Association, National Council of Negro Women, National Association of Black Journalists. I come in as a producer, they say, here's your budget, work it. With this show, I walked into the American Diabetes and said, hi, this is Alvin King. This is Alvin King on paper. And your cause is near and dear to me because I've lost 3 brothers to diabetes, 4 to diabetes, of complications associated with diabetes. So, and I wanted to bring a light awareness to it because we didn't talk about it. And I lost them. When I lost them, I didn't know they had diabetes. I didn't know until after they passed away, and then discussions amongst family. Oh, you know, Donald had diabetes, Michael had diabetes. And so I thought, okay, diabetes is the cause, God, that you want me to follow. So I went in, knocked on the door. They looked at my concept and said, we love it. And so I've taken it to a level that they didn't expect, because it was only going to be, you know, a fashion show, but now it's a gala weekend.
Wow.
Yeah, so, and I'm just very grateful, bringing in other sponsors and pharmaceutical companies to, you know, to be a part of the event. So,
are you diabetic?
I am not diabetic that I know of. I mean, I get tested. So,
but you take it, and ever since I've known you, you've always taken really good care of yourself.
Well, thank you. I started taking care of myself because I was seeing my brothers who are older than me, you know, just not taking care of themselves. And one of the funny running joke in my family, one of my brothers, instead of asking me, you know, am I gay or what my sexual preference is, he made a joke saying, oh, well, you look like that because you're gay. And I'd say, well, maybe you should be gay. Because if you think I look like this only because, or you think I'm gay, then maybe you should too. Maybe you'll live longer. So that's always been a running joke in my family.
That's the comeback right there.
That's the comeback.
Yeah,
that's the comeback. I'm pretty quick on that. But no, I am very aware of complications and diabetes and the type of diabetes. And I've had friends who are suffering now. I have a sister who is not doing well, and she has diabetes along with other complications. So, but it is near and dear. And I think that part of the problem is people don't talk about it until it's too late. And juvenile diabetes is on the rise.
Yeah.
So I have this wonderful chef, moderator, author named Bryce Fluellen, who's coming in from LA, and he's one of the speakers on the at the event, along with Joan Barsdale, who is former vice president of the American Diabetes Educators.
Okay.
So yeah, it's fashion and music with a cause, but I have to keep my focus on diabetes.
I got to tell you, that scares me to death.
Yeah?
Well, it scares me to life, actually, because my dad had it, my father's mother has it, my mother has it, and I already got the call, which is what spurred on the weight loss. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I said to myself, okay, I got myself in this. I can get myself out of it. It's just some things I got to eliminate from my diet. But it's hard.
It's hard. But I think the best way to deal with things that are in your face is to talk about it. And so, I'm only one person doing something that I think can make a difference. And so if I can do something that tell people, you need to watch what you eat, you need to speak to your doctor, you need to get a workout plan, you need to take care of yourself a little better and make yourself look better, I'll be that conduit. I'll do it.
But people, my grandmother knew this. My father knew it. Everybody knows and you don't really want to do anything about it until it's almost too late.
Too late. So, yeah.
So how do you correct that behavior? Because I will not lie. Well, I don't like going to the doctor because I don't want to hear what she got to tell me.
Well, you can't make people do what they don't want to do. You can only, I think, leading by example. So if I'm going to send this message and preach this message, I'm going to tell my story, use my story to let them know that it doesn't have to happen to you. Sure, I came from a family where diabetes has just impacted our lives completely, but I don't have it. And probably the reason I don't have it is because I do watch what I eat. I do exercise. I'm 58, so soon, who knows what 59 is going to bring? But hopefully it won't be diabetes.
Yeah.
And so again, I can only tell people and educate people and make them aware.
What you do with the blessing I give you is up to you.
It's up to you.
I got it.
It's up to you.
I want to circle back, though, to you said you need vision to be an event producer. So how do you get your inspirations for what you're going to do? How do you know what that vision is, or do you know?
Well, it depends on who's booking me for that particular fashion production. If it's a company, say, for example, if it's the National Urban League, I sit down with the organizers, and if it's for luncheon, what's the theme of your luncheon? You know, how long do I have to produce this show? Can you connect to me or put me in touch with the person who's planning the brunch and the person who's planning the pickup after the brunch is over, because the show is in between that. Mm-hmm. So anything I do will either throw or impact, you know, so it's that type of planning. Then, you know, I will, if it's the organization who's asking me, who's your audience?
That's
you know, who is it? You know, I don't want to show a whole bunch of clothes that the audience will look at and go, that's not me. And at the end of the day, I'm in this business to sell clothes.
Say that again to the camera, please.
I am in this business to sell clothes, ladies and gentlemen. Don't, you know, through all the hoopla, the music, the lights and all that, I need to stay focused that I'm selling these designers clothes. They're entrusting in me with their brand to say, this is the best of the best, on the best of the best, being shown in the best possible light possible. Mm-hmm. That's my job.
Hey, models, you know what your job is? It's pretty much the same as his. You got to sell the clothes. Yeah, I mean, I see us get caught up in, I would not be working if I spoke about the stuff that I had to wear back when I first started.
Right.
You just got to suck it up and know that you envision it in your head to be something else. That's what I used to do. That's what would get me through that. Mm-hmm. Okay, I hate this, but I got to sell this, so I got to act like I like it.
I'm not going to call any names, but I've seen you in action. I've seen you put things on, not even in, even in my show. Okay, let me take ownership. I have seen you in a garment where you would come out, and because of you, because of your character, your showmanship, I've seen you sell a jacket that the sleeves were too small. I have seen you sell a blouse that really wasn't fitting you right, but somehow for that 30 seconds, you managed to shift your body and make that the most current blouse that anybody could wear. And you have this thing where you kind of make the audience engage you. So you know how to do it. And I will say again, you've earned the title of the original Runway Diva because I've seen you in action. So, no, and not smoke. And you all will see her again in December, okay? So, in D.C.
Thank you for all of that. I appreciate that. But, I always try to focus in on my models and get them to understand it's a job.
Yeah.
Nobody cares if you like the clothes.
Right.
Nobody cares if you're having fun.
Right.
You're here to work. I pay you to sell it.
Right.
And I always tell them if they're not standing up on their feet or cheering for you when you come out, you have not done your job.
Right.
Go back and try it again.
Well, and I don't want to put all the onus on the model. Let me talk about some of these directors, especially these fashion producers right now. Again, I know it's all subjective. And, when models walk down the runway right now, first of all, you will show personality in my show. I need to know if you don't have teeth, then you can buy them. You need to have them because I'm gonna want to see them. You're gonna need to learn how to smile with your eyes or your something. But personality is what captivates the audience.
Absolutely.
You have to have, and I tell models right now, my whole thing, modeling is like reading a book, a beginning, a middle, and an end. You will not just walk off my runway without turning around and acknowledging that you were on my runway. You will not do that. And for two reasons. Because you're not telling the full story of the garment that you have on. That's number one. And I want you to look at some of these great models like Lou and Naomi Campbell and Wanakee. And when they leave the stage, they will turn around you and acknowledge you. I always ask for that, always. And when I don't see that, then then you're not ready for prime time. You're not telling the full story of that garment. You're not appreciating that garment. And the second piece of that is that could be the best picture that you've ever had for your portfolio when you stop and give that last bam.
But you know what you just made me think of? Because that's what you like as a producer.
Right.
And as a model, I tell everyone to be a sponge, learn everything, because there's some producers that don't want you
to do that.
They just want to straight walk on, straight
Right.
walk off. And you have to know the difference, but you just can't get out there and do what you want.
Right.
Because that's how you lose a job.
Exactly.
Did y'all hear me? That's how you lose a job, when you don't listen to the instructions given to you. Right. And you can't take the same energy from one show to the next, because it's always going to be different.
Exactly, exactly. And that's why I say, you know, it's all subjective, depending on the director. So when you see a model that you just think is horrible, I can't put all the onus on that model, because the director has let him or her get beyond that. And so...
like, what instructions did you give her? Did you tell her to do that?
And budgets is not, you can't tell me, well, she doesn't get paid or he doesn't get paid as much. It doesn't matter. Because once you come into that fold, you're really all one. It's one show, it's one event. It's all one.
You just touched on something, and I know some antennas went up when you said it. Mm-hmm. I know that there are productions where they pay different models, different amounts of money. Mm-hmm. What's your feeling on that? Because I think that's the easiest way to cause a whole lot of confusion.
Well, I think, again, it's what the budget calls for.
Right.
It's what the budget calls for. And every model has, and at least with me, you can negotiate. I encourage you to negotiate, because that tells me that, one, you're aware of your brand, because you are a brand, and if I can't accommodate that brand, then I'm going to say, because if I've called you, then I want you. Mm-hmm. But if I can't afford you, then I need to move on. And so it's a business, and I'm not going to go back and forth with, a rate, because I'm not going to share with you what I paid this other person. Now, this other person can tell you,
which is stupid. This is how the mess gets started. When people start talking.
Well, and at the end of the day, as there may be truth, because somebody can show, well, this is my check that he paid me. Again, ask yourself, did I negotiate? Because I'm not going to tell you I'm paying this person more than the next person. But, I try to get all models, the models that I get, that I book for a show, we're all one. And I've been very, very, very grateful, Sharon, that, I hate to talk rate, but I can call certain models that I know that would say, Alvin, I'll do it for you because I know you're going to take care of me. And I don't take that lightly. I've earned that because I take care of models. I know that I have to take care of you. And so in return, models have worked with me in the past. When I hear that, it kind of freaks me out when they say, oh, Alvin, I'm coming for you. I'll be there. And they don't even ask me what their rate is.
Which is what I said, what's the date? Just let me write it down, okay.
And so when I tell certain people that I have a Sharon Quinn, a Lou, a Coco, a David Martin, they're like, oh, then you must have this huge budget. And I just look at them like, first of all, I'm not going to have that conversation. But I do know that when I do make a call and you guys answer the call, that I'm very grateful that you do it. And there are certain things that you don't even ask me, because at the end of the day, being fair and taking care of you and making sure that you're accommodated properly, professionally, I'm going to do it. Yeah. So
and that's why people, just give me the date so I can write it down. That's why you get that.
I get it. I get it.
I don't do that for too many people.
I know you. I was with a model last night at dinner. I came up, Kimmy. Mm-hmm. She's one of these models that, she's not, on the mainstream modeling, all that. But if anybody who has watched a King and I show and you see Kimmy, you will remember Kimmy.
Yeah. I remember when she got started.
She did my show at 14.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right. And I mean, when I think about her and how at 14, bringing her in and saying, I'm going to take care of you, and talking to her mother and getting parental consent to take her on the road and stuff like that. Having her mother talk to me right now, 20 years later, Kimmy's a grown woman, and her mother's still calling to see how things are going and still giving me accolades about taking care of her daughter, who now lives in New York and a businesswoman. It really sends a wonderful message to me. I am so grateful and believe that God put me in this business for a reason. So,
now you said you took 10 years off to get your degree.
I did.
Now, is this the first show? This is not the first show you've done since you...
This is the first show since I took off. Actually, 2001, I did a show right before 9/11 for the National Urban League.
Okay.
It was the last show for the National Urban League. I've done different like little pocket shows, like trunk shows or whatever, but nothing like this. And I just said, you know, I can't do it. 2001, people didn't want to pay me what I was worth anymore, you know, because people were trying to save money. 9/11 shook people up, and I mean, come on, that show where you were getting, you know, $1,500 to get up in the morning, it went down to $7.
Child,
you know,
please.
all right?
You don't even know.
It went down to
Everything changed after that.
Everything changed, and again, I just figured maybe it was time for me to change and reinvent, and so I kind of pushed back slowly and stopped accepting solicitations to do shows and whatnot. And I always felt like I was like that little kid, that little producer who nobody knew until I did something, and then they were like, whoo.
Yeah, that was me as a model.
Who are you?
I always had to prove myself. I understand.
So, but I like it because it helped build a little character in me. But no, I have not. This is the first show since.
Okay, so we got about 3 minutes left.
Okay.
What you got coming up next besides the swirling chords?
Besides the swirling chords right now, I can't even look beyond these. I have, I've been approached about doing events in the spring that are coming up. But I mean, I have my TV show that I have called We Speak. That's on DC TV, local cable network. So I'm going to get back involved in that because I put that to the side. Fashion is coming. I've reinvented myself, and so I'm here. I'm ready to do it, and thank goodness I have people to do it with me. That kind of gives me that motivation and inspiration to do it.
Well, I'm going to inspire you to do something else.
Well,
you need to write that King and I, the book.
Right.
The book.
The book?
Yeah, but I mean, you've been doing this for a long time. I'm sure you got plenty of stories to tell.
I do.
All the people that you've connected with.
I do. Okay, Sharon, I think, Lord, did y'all hear me? You're calling wrongly. She took my breath away. I will definitely do that. I do have a story to tell.
I bet you do.
And thank you. I'm going to put that on my bucket list to do, Sharon, and I'm going to give you credit for that.
You don't have to give me credit.
No, I want to.
Okay.
I want to.
Put me in.
Because no one told me to write a book yet.
You should.
But I will do that.
Yeah, I try to tell that to everybody because it's not till I sit here and I talk to people and I'm like, wow, You've done a lot. And you throw things out that I never knew about you. You got to write. And my mother just got on me about writing my own stories.
I know.
All right, so I'm going to stop you right there. All right, guys, we are almost out of time. I'd like to thank my guest, Alvin King, for sharing his industry knowledge with us. Now, before I go, I'd like to leave you with a few thoughts. I want you to, one, remember that you can't change the game until you first learn the game. Always surround yourself with positive people and positive things. Do what you love and love what you do. And lastly, be who you are, but be who you are tastefully. Always have some class about yourself. And don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest. Thanks for watching Model Behavior, and I'll see you guys next week. Class is officially dismissed. Bye, y'all.